FatDag is a Weight Watchers leader in Indianapolis, Indiana. However, the views and opinions expressed during this podcast are his own. They do not represent the views of Weight Watchers. And now, here's your host and wingman, FatDag.
I am your host, FatDag. You're listening to WhysAdvice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at fatdag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at WhysAdvice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, hello. Welcome to episode 182 of WhysAdvice, and today's a very special day. If you guys haven't figured it out by now, the folks in Facebook did. Today is March 14th, also known as Pi Day. And coincidentally, it's also the day that happy birthday to the WhysAdvice podcast. It's exactly 1 year, 1.79 million downloads later, and we continue to make a difference. We continue to rock the world, but it's been an entire year. Do you remember the very first episode? Have you gone all the way back to listen to episode 1? It was about 4 minutes long. I think I recorded it from my car. I think somewhere in the first 3 or 4 episodes, you can hear a police siren as a cop was passing me or coming the other direction or something along those lines. And we went from episode 1, 2, 3, 4. They were about 4 or 5 minutes long. And you guys kept saying, hey, I want to work out with this. And can you increase the episode? And so we started growing and growing. And so we're 1 year into the podcast, 182 episodes in the first year. That's about every other day. I tell you, we do the show every single day, except for the days that we don't, but we're batting about 50%. I think that's a pretty good success rate. We'll see what 2018 brings. We'll continue to get it done because you guys continue to tune in. You continue to download. We're on Spotify. We're on iHeart. We're in Stitcher Radio. You can download the WhysAdvice app from your app store. Please, while you're out there, give it a review. That kind of is the way for most people to understand this actually is worth listening to. And if you continue to tune in, I thank you for that. We continue to grow on Facebook and Instagram and do the show live on Facebook. Man, we've come a long way in 1 year. Can you imagine if I would have started out a year ago and I would have said, you know what, I want to do all this. I want to have 1.8 million downloads. I want to be on 5 live streams. I want to be on every single device. You know, I was recording from my car. I had no expectation that we would grow to where we are right now. I was recording in my car before I would leave for the day because I wanted to make sure we got it out there. And so if I would have set up myself from day one with the expectation of I have to have 1.8 million downloads in the first year, I would be a failure because we're about 7,000 away. And there isn't anyone on the planet that would disagree that 1.79 is a good number. And so it's very indicative of our weight loss journey, right? When we set ourselves up and we say, I want to lose 50 pounds in my first year. And then all of a sudden we come up on the first year and we're down 49.7. We missed our goal. So it's best not to set goals. It's best to just set your course of action. It's best to just charge forward, do your best every single day, and be surprised by the results. Today is also a very special day because we had an opportunity to do an Operation FatDag. And for those of you who may not be fully aware of what Operation FatDag is Operation FatDag is, of course, my story. I was about ready to be kicked out of the military. The military had enough with me messing around with the fitness test and not taking one and not getting it done. The military said, yeah, it's time for you to go. And I said, no, wait a minute, I have bigger plans. There's more to this journey than what you know. I have plans. I'm going to get this done, and I did. And so what I come to find out is that the number one retention issue in the military is for fitness. We lose so many people to fitness. And on top of that, the children of today, 71% of them are not eligible for military service. And a large portion of that is because they're overweight. So if we continue to lose people out of the military and we can't replenish people into the military, all because of fitness, well, I said we need to do something about that. And so Operation FatDag was born, and the Army Guard invited me in to come talk to a group of soldiers who were facing disciplinary action for their inability to pass a fitness test. My story caught on, and I was able to walk in and tell them that, hey, you can do this. I believe in you. And so that's essentially what Operation FatDag is, and it grew from that. I got some exciting news to share with you in just a second, but so Operation FatDag is essentially me wanting to make sure that the number one retention issue in the military has someone who's looking out for them. I put a call on Connect and I said, folks, if you're interested in helping me with this, we can change the world. And we have next week, a week from today, we're probably going to maybe broadcast live from the Operation FatDag Facebook page. So if you're not following the Operation FatDag Facebook page, it's different than the WhysAdvice page. But we have about 15 to 17 people who have stood up and said, you know what, Mike, I'm with you. And on their own dime, on their own time, they're driving to Indianapolis. None of them are from Indianapolis, I assure you of that. They're all flying into Indianapolis. We have a meeting room secured for next Saturday. We're going to have dinner on Friday evening. We're going to kind of break the ice and get to know each other. And then on Saturday, we're going to spend all day reviewing the bylaws, reviewing our program guidelines, and we're going to build Operation FatDag as a 501c3 nonprofit charity. The mission of this charity is to do exactly what we're doing, is to deliver talks, is to deliver inspiration to military members. It's to provide them the tools that I believe were not available when I was walking this journey. It's to reach into the household and take care of the family too. And we really want to ensure that no person struggles with this. No person should have to end their military career because they couldn't find the help that they needed. That's what Operation FatDag is. And so a week from tomorrow, we start that. A week from Friday, I guess, we start that in. And so again, we'll broadcast part of it live from the Operation FatDag Facebook page. We may kind of reach out and go from there, but I really want you to know I appreciate every single person on this planet. The team that's flying in, it blows my mind that people are willing and able and wanting to be a part of this. We're well on our way to be approved by the IRS as a 501c3 charity. It's just a great. So to kind of celebrate our 1 year anniversary, to celebrate the birth of Operation FatDag, and to celebrate all that we are doing as a community, I want to recap episode 54 for you. And so episode 54 is my talk to the Army Guard. I delivered a talk today. I spent all afternoon down with them. There was about 25 folks in the room, and I shared what I'm going to share with you. I want to share it again so that if you haven't had an opportunity to go all the way back to episode 54, you can hear it. So I'll kind of set the stage and tell you what's going on. So, the Army Guard, again, hats off to them. The Indiana Army National Guard specifically, they understand that, when I was struggling with my fitness, I didn't know where to turn. Whether it was there or not is irrelevant. But I did not have access to it, either through my own fault or I don't know who. I'm not pointing blame. I didn't have access to the resources that are available to the soldiers of the Indiana Army National Guard specifically. So they brought me in. They brought me in to do this talk, and it's just really encouraging to see that they're taking care of their soldiers more so than just simply telling them eat less, work out more. They go through a full nutrition program with them. It's almost a 2-week course, and they bring me in on the last day or towards the very end to provide a little bit of hope and a little bit of inspiration and a little bit of motivation. And I ask you guys all the time, I can't do this alone. I can deliver the message of hope, but I end the talk with, I believe in you. I believe you can do it. It's how I open the show here. I believe in you. And there's nothing more powerful than that, than someone delivering a message of, I believe you can do this. And so I need your help to convey that message to them. And what I say is, I believe in you. Not only do I believe in you, but there's a whole community of people who believe in you. And so much so that I asked them to send in a card. I asked them to send in a letter to remind you that you can do this. And so you guys do. You answer the call always. I have another talk scheduled for a month from now. I actually 2 more scheduled in April, so I need your help. Go to operationfatdag.org. You can find the address there. You can send in a card, and it's real simple. You just take a card. You don't even need a card. You can make one up. But what you're doing is you're writing a quick little letter of inspiration to a soldier in the Army or Air Guard, in the military, and you're saying, I believe in you. That's it. If you want to include your contact information, you absolutely can. They may or may not reach out. It's not a requirement. We're not looking for pen pals. What we're really looking for is you delivering a message of hope. I hand carry your message. I tell them I believe in them. And I say, and not only do I believe in you, again, there's a community of people, and here is the proof of that. I tell you, as I end my talk, as I hand these cards out, my favorite part is watching them sit silently in their chair, taking in everything we talked about, and you can just see them reading the cards. You can see your words again jumping out of the card. You can see it going directly to the heart, and you can tell that we're making a difference. They confirmed it today that this program is wildly successful, and we're saving lives, we're saving careers, and it's us getting it done. And it's this podcast, it's the live group on Facebook, it's the live folks on Instagram, the live folks on YouTube, it's the letters, the cards, it's the encouragement, it's the Wise Wingman Facebook group. All of that ties together, and together we're making a difference. So I want to share with you the actual presentation that I give to them. I will tomorrow. I will put the slides up into the. They'll be on the Patreon app for those of you who are there. I will update the slides there. At some point, maybe I'll release them further up, but at least for now, that's where they're going to be tomorrow. But I want to I just want to kind of recap the entire thing. Setting the stage as I walk into the front of the room. I'm wearing my dress blue uniform, and like I said in episode 54, is the thing fits really good. Man, it hugs the body in all the right places. It absolutely, the medals on the chest, not to be gloating, but the medals just kind of stand out. The waistline is trim, the uniform fits good. I feel special when I wear it. I feel like I'm on fire. I feel like for the first time in a long time that I'm a fit military member. And I actually am very proud. I've always been proud to wear the uniform, don't get me wrong, but I tell you, when it fits good, it's a whole different level of pride. So I walk to the front of the room, and I stick out like a sore thumb. They're all in their fitness gear. They're all standing there in shorts and a workout jacket. I come in my full dress blue uniform, so I already don't fit in. I'm an Air Force guy in a room full of Army people, so I don't fit in there as well. I make sure that I talk a little slower to them because, as I always joke with my friends in the Army, I don't have a ton of pictures, so I will talk very slow so that you can keep up with the conversation. I don't want to go too fast for them. And so I always joke with them about that. It's a little brotherly, sisterly love. For those of us in the military, we get that. And I'm sure they make fun of me back, and it's all good. We're on the same team, one fight. But so I walk to the front of the room, and I know enough about this journey to know that what's going through their mind, because they have no idea who I am. They have no idea why I'm there. And I walk to the front of the room as a guy who appears to be very, very fit. So I know from sitting in a similar environment that the thoughts going through their mind is, oh, great, here's another guy that's going to tell us to work out more and eat less. I know that. And so I open my talk exactly like this. I'm going to run through the entire thing, and here we go. You guys ready? So I walk to the front of the room and I say, I'm not a fitness expert. I'm not a healthy eating coach. I'm just an airman. And I'm actually a mess. I'm someone who should have been sitting in this audience a couple years ago, but I managed to fly just under the radar. I'm going to spend the next hour or so with you, and I'm only going to tell you one thing. I'm going to tell you that you don't have to be here. No, you don't have to be in this room. Well, sure, you have to be here because you're enrolled in this course, but the reality is what put you here is you, and you don't have to be here. That's all we're going to cover. We're going to spend an hour. I'm going to tell you all about my story. I'm going to tell you all about my journey, and I'm going to leave you with that. We'll talk about my military career. We'll talk about how I struggled with the fitness test. We'll talk about my recovery and then how I failed again. We'll talk about my wingman. We'll talk about me finding my why, finding success, tools that are available for you, how you can contact me, and I'll tell you that I want to be your wingman. I want to walk this journey with you. But you don't have to be here. Well, damn it, I'm a good airman. I'm a good airman in all aspects of my career. 26 years ago, I swore to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I would give my life today to keep that promise. I'm a damn good airman. I'll do whatever it takes to get the job done. In 1997, I remember being awarded the Air Traffic Control Maintainer of the Year. I was maintaining air traffic control radar systems, deploying all over the country, doing all kinds of fun, crazy stuff. I put a package in. They recognized me as the best maintainer in the entire nation. It was a great honor. 2002, I went into recruiting. I was named the best recruiter in 2002 in the entire nation for the entire Air National Guard. Me, the best airman. I was given the Meritorious Service Medal twice. I've been given the Air Force Commendation Medal 2 or 3 times. I've been given the Air Force Achievement Medal. I've even earned the Air Force Outstanding Volunteer Medal. By all accounts, this is a very, very successful career. But deep in the shadows lies a dark secret. It's one that we don't really talk about in society, and we certainly don't discuss in the military. I have an addiction. I have an addiction to food. I have an addiction to food that causes me to struggle with my fitness test, regardless of how much I wish that I could pass it. I've been in the military for 26 years, and for about 20 of them, I've been overweight. I actually really wanted always to pass this fitness test, but I just never really understood the process. I remember my very first time struggling with a test back in 1997. I just came off a deployment. I was in the Maine Air National Guard at the time, and I was transferring over to the New Hampshire Guard. The world was changing, our mission was moving, and so this entire team of people, we deployed together, and then all of a sudden we transfer units. One by one, we make the transfer from the Maine Air Guard to the New Hampshire Air Guard, and I stepped up to make the transfer with my team, with my buddies, with folks that I lived with, in tents for many months. And one by one, they transferred it. And when it came to me, they said, well, hang on, Mike, you actually can't transfer with them. You have to stay behind, because part of the transfer process requires that you meet a height and weight standard, and you're actually overweight. Well, damn it, I'm a good airman. I've done everything you've asked me to. I take care of my career. I do whatever it takes. And it didn't matter at that moment in time because nothing else mattered except for the fact that I was overweight. In 2001, let me back up. I ended up losing the 5 to 10 pounds at that point. I ended up transferring. I ended up joining the unit and continuing on in my career. And I remember then going in 2001, going into recruiting school. And so I was very excited. I'm very proud to be in the military, very honored to be able to share this opportunity. I said, I want to share this story with so many other individuals. I want them to be able to join, and I want to facilitate that process. I applied to go to recruiting school in 2001. I get there, and just before I arrive, they tell me, hey, Mike, by the way, when you get there, you're going to have to pass a fitness test. Well, I wasn't really expecting that. And so for about a week before the school, I ended up doing this baked potato and chicken breast diet. I had chicken and baked potato for every single meal for a week. trying to lose just enough weight so that when I got down to recruiting school and I had to take a fitness test that comprised of a tape measure and a height and a weight check, that I would pass it. I ended up, before the first morning of school, I'm at the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, running on the treadmill, trying to shave 2 or 3 pounds of sweat so that I can make weight, so that I can start a career as a recruiter. How crazy is that? That, I'm starting a career, with this food addiction that I'm just trying to get under control. I ended up making weight. I ended up passing, and I graduated recruiting school and did well. And I was recruiting for about 5 or 6 years. And I said, I got bigger things to do with my life and bigger things to do with my career. I want to go work for our nation's capital. I want to move to Washington, D.C. I want to work at the Pentagon. I want to work at Andrews Air Force Base. I want to do great things in recruiting. I have the ability to do that. And so I applied to take on a bigger role. And they said, Mike, thanks for the application, but we actually need a copy of your fitness scores. And I at that time, I'm thinking, it doesn't matter. Look at my resume. Look at all the amazing things I've done. Who cares about the fitness test? I'm a good airman. I'll do whatever it takes. So they asked for my fitness test, and I actually didn't have a fitness test on file. And so I go to the base and I said, hey guys, I'm applying for this job, and and for the most part, everyone at the base was real excited and was an amazing opportunity. And they said, okay, let's get you a fitness test. So I go out and I take the fitness test. I remember very vividly running the test, running with folks, and they said, I could tell I was behind the pace and I wasn't doing well. The wind was blowing. My score was not good. And I had an opportunity to, as I'm running the course, there was a kind of a shortcut that would have shaved probably half a mile or so off of the run that probably no one would have ever noticed. And I was offered the opportunity to take the shortcut, and I said, no, I'm not gonna do that. And so I ran the full course and I crossed the finish line. And when I did, they handed me my score and they said, congratulations, you passed. Now I celebrated that. That was an amazing day. But as I look back on it, as I know what it takes to pass that test, I don't believe that I passed. I believe that they took care of me to help me through. So that was 2005. And so there were various things in my career that they always reminded me that I had to take care of my fitness, but I was just doing everything I could to make sure the job was taken care of. I was never, ever taking care of me. I was real good at losing weight. Every year I would lose the weight that I needed to get to the next milestone, but I wouldn't take care of me. I told you. I was a very good airman by my definition, and that good airman meant that I was doing the job, but I didn't know how to pass the fitness test. I never made it a priority in my career. I never understood that part of being a good airman was to be a good airman in all areas, not just the ones that matter. And in order to take care of me, that would eventually take care of the mission as well. Rather than trying to pass the test, I spent most of my career trying to find ways to beat the test. I remember very vividly, again, walking into the night before a fitness test, going down to the local spa and talking to the lady there and say, I need a seaweed wrap. And I remember laying there at 240 some pounds and being wrapped in seaweed and extracting any amount of water out of my body so that I would shave 2 inches off of my midsection so that I would pass the tape in the morning. It worked. I ended up passing the tape. I would think crazy things like, man, what if on the way to the fitness test, if I we're walking down as a group, if I just missed a stair, right? And I tumbled down a flight of stairs, not enough to get real hurt, but enough to get someone's attention, there's no way they would ask me to take a test after witnessing that. I had those thoughts in my head. How can I beat this test? I would think things like, well, maybe on the way to the fitness test field, if I pulled out a little too quick and accidentally got in a car accident, well, again, no one in their right mind would force me to go take a fitness test after getting an offender bender. It's absolutely crazy. I would look for the guy in the room who would, when they go to do the tape measure, I would look and I would see who was going to pull the tape the tightest. I would try and game the system all the while trying to just really squeak by because I hadn't prepared properly for the test. I remember being given a direct order for one of my tests that, Mike, the way to pass this test is to take preparation aids, take saran wrap it around your midsection, wrap yourself in saran wrap, go to sleep. It's like that seaweed wrap. It'll pull water out. I remember being given a direct order to do that and refusing to do so because I said my integrity means more to me. So all these crazy thoughts went through my mind, but I wanted to I wanted to just absolutely get this done deliberately. I was raised in a family with integrity. So the Air Force's core value of integrity first, it was a natural fit for me. Despite my desire, I couldn't allow myself to cheat the system. I made the conscious decision every single time that pass or fail, I'm going to own it. I'm going to go and take the test. I'm going to do my best. I came to terms with that. No matter what is in store for me, I am going to get it done. Well, that was a great attitude. It was a great mindset. And it was a very, very healthy, and except for one critical flaw. I wasn't ready to take the fitness test. As much as I had the integrity, as much as I had the drive to do it, I was nowhere near ready. And I actually ended up failing my first fitness test. And so it was very, very difficult for me to consider, because all this time I'd been able to do whatever it took to pass it. I would squeak by every single opportunity, but this time I didn't get it done. I had just moved to the state of Indiana at this time, and I was still the brand new recruiter. And we had that the unit-wide assessment, and they taped me, and I was 1 inch over my max. It was an automatic failure. And so there was nothing. It didn't matter how fast I ran. It didn't matter how many push-ups I did. It didn't matter any of that. What mattered is that my tape was too much. I was overweight. And so my first thought was I was mad at the guy who pulled the tape because he didn't pull it tight enough. If he would just pull the tape measure just a little bit more, we could have gotten that 1 inch, and I would have been out to do the run. And I decided at that point is that even though I failed the tape, I decided to go out and complete the rest of the issue because it was a tapes guy's fault for getting that. And I quickly realized as I was out there running my 1.5 miles that it actually had nothing to do with the tape. I wasn't even prepared to run. And so I took my failure and I owned it. Now, I'm at the point in my career where my leadership, my next line of chain of command is a 1-star general. And so my first counseling session ever from failing a fitness test, or for anything for that matter, was with a 1-star general. And now generals certainly have more important things to do with managing and battling and fighting wars than certainly talking to me about a fitness test. And so I sat down in the general, we went one-on-one, and he said, Mike, he goes, what's going on? What happened? And for that split second, I had a choice, and I had the decision to tell him what was going on. And what I wanted to say with everything inside me, I wanted to tell him that it was the guy who taped me's fault. I wanted to place blame anywhere but me. But again, the integrity wouldn't allow me to do that. And I said, well, sir, I didn't prepare. I didn't prepare to take this fitness test. And he looked at me a little bit dumbfounded, because I don't believe a lot of people step right up and own it. And I said, sir, it's my fault. I didn't prepare for the test. I started preparing, but way too late. And I just didn't get it done. And I said, but sir, I promise you, if you give me one more shot, if you give me another chance, I will never let you down again. I will never fail another fitness test again. I promise you, boss, give me that opportunity. And so I had 6 months to go retest. And so we shook on it. We accepted it. He said, yes, go out and do it. And so for the next 6 months, back into Weight Watchers, and I was tracking everything I ate and working out as much as I could. And 6 months later, I go back and I take the test, and by the skin of my teeth, I ended up getting that passing test and essentially believing that everything is going to be good. I passed the test, and I run down to Buffalo Wild Wings and I celebrated with food, because what an amazing accomplishment of me finally passing this test again. And so there I did. I go celebrate. I'm eating a plate of wings, and from that moment on, I don't believe I could have passed the test the following day. And my weight started creeping up, and slowly but surely, because I don't have to test for another year, my weight just slowly kept going up because I completely lost that focus. my weight started gaining and gaining and gaining, and I got so out of shape that it came time a year later for my next fitness assessment. Again, I'm nowhere near ready to take this test, but I'd made a promise. I said, boss, I would never fail again. And here I am coming up on a year later, and I'm in the exact same situation that I was in. Well, rather than breaking my promise, what I did is I decided not to take the fitness assessment. And so what I tried to do is I tried to hide for 2.5 years and just never really complete the test because I did not want to fail the test, because I'd given my word that I would never fail another test again. So rather than owning it, I continued to bounce around and just avoiding the test. I was conveniently not there every time the unit had to do a fitness assessment. And so it finally caught up to me 2.5 years later. The fitness monitor came up to me and goes, Mike, I'm telling you, man, you are overdue. You need to do something about this fitness test. The entire time I wanted nothing more than to do this. I was at that point where I really wanted to solve this. I wanted to pass the test more than they wanted me to pass the test, but I couldn't get my mind in line to get it done. So he looks at me and goes, Mike, I need you to test. You need the test tomorrow. And I said, you know what? Do what you got to do. I'm not taking the fitness assessment. I'm not in shape. I'm not ready to do it. It's dangerous for me to go take the test. So I don't care what numbers you put in the system. I am not taking this fitness test. And so I didn't. So they put in scores in the system. They logged me as an automatic failure. And, I tell you, for those 2 years of stress, anxiety, guilt, fear, shame, all of those things I wrestled with, trying to figure out a way to pass this test. I gave up soda completely. I went from 12 sodas a day down to 0, hoping that I would lose weight. Instead, I ended up gaining weight because I modified my diet by adding more food when I was not able to, when I gave up the soda. I reached out to counselors. I reached out to folks who I thought would be able to help me. And I finally broke down and I said, I need help. I sent out an email. I sent a letter to about 20 or so of my closest friends and people that I really looked up to, people who I thought had everything together in their life, people who I wanted to emulate. I sent them that email. I said, guys, man, I tell you, I am in a world of hurt. I'm in a place I've never been in before. I'm overdue on my fitness assessment. I am overweight. There's no way I can pass this test, but I have to do something. So I sent this email out and not really sure what to expect, but man, I was really hoping for some help. And because the Air Force is really good at helping our airmen, and I just wanted someone to give me that answer, that magic bullet of, Mike, do this and it'll all be over. And I ended up getting a whole bunch of replies, but none of them made an impact. And many of the replies were, Mike, you should work out more. Mike, you should eat less. Hey, if you want to go to the gym, I'll meet you at the gym. I'll pray for you. I'll say some prayers. But none of that was anything that I hadn't already known, hadn't already tried, but I wasn't able to get it done. And there was one person in particular who understood exactly what I needed, and that was my wingman. And so my wingman reached out to me and he said, Mike, what's going on? And we talked briefly on the phone, and I said, here's what's going on. I said, I have to take a fitness test in 68 days, and if I don't pass the test, it's just going to be a mess, and I'm 2 years overdue. I'm telling you, it's just a complete nightmare. And he said, okay. And that was it was a really, really short conversation. I remember hanging up the phone thinking, I don't think he understood. I don't think he understood the gravity of the situation. I don't think he even knew how to help me. I think it was a great phone call. I put him in the same bucket as all of the other replies that there was no help for me, that I was just destined to be kicked out of the military. So the next morning, though, I woke up to an email from him, and it said, good morning, Mike. Day 68, we got this. And it gave me a little bit of hope that morning that, okay. And it reframed my day, and I started that day on fire, saying, I can do this. And the next day, day 67, good morning, Mike. Day 66, 65, 64. Every single day, he was up before I was. He shot me an email, and all he did was focus my energy on what it is I was trying to accomplish. I started my day knowing what the goal was. Every single morning, I had a reminder of what the goal was. And together we worked. We didn't communicate at all throughout the rest of the day. It was just that quick little email in the day. And so we worked through the process, and every once in a while I would update him with, hey, I'm down 5 pounds, I'm down 6 pounds, I'm down 10 pounds. And I worked through the program, and I got to the point where it's time for the test. It was day 1 was here. The next morning I had a fitness test, and I went out with everything I had. They pulled the tape across my midsection, and I was sweating buckets, hoping that I would just be close enough. They pulled it across my midsection. It was 39 inches, which is the absolute right on the bubble of passing or failing. But I was able to go. I go out and did a 1.5 mile run. And I did it in 14 minutes, which is just barely scraping by. And I ended up passing the test with a 79.7. It was just barely out of that marginal range, but it was enough to get the monkey off my back. And man, I shot him an email. I was so thankful. I said, man, thank you so much for getting me finally to a point where I can pass this test. And I shot him the email, and man, I went out to Buffalo Wild Wings again to have that celebratory dinner, because I had just done for 68 days. I beat myself up trying everything I could to make sure that I was able to pass this test. And I did it. And the sacrifice, it needed me to go celebrate. So out I went. I went to lunch again, and then the email stopped. My weight started climbing back up. My weight just continued to climb. And so again, I'm not due for another year. So that celebration just continued to go and go and go. And my weight climbed up to 263.5 pounds. It's the most I've ever weighed in my life. And here I just passed my fitness test a year ago, but it's an annual requirement. And I know now that I'm coming up on the first of the year, and I'm due for a fitness assessment. I'm due in May, and here I look at January, and I said, man, I don't know how I got out of shape. A year ago, I passed the test. Had I just stuck with it, I wouldn't be in this situation. So January 1st, New Year's resolution, I find a picture that just kind of opens my eyes. I said, it's time to get this done. And I said, okay, I got it. I'm ready. January 1st, I wake up on fire, and I said, I'm going to change my life. I'm not going to struggle. Man, I'm going to get ahead of this. I'm going to do it in January. So January 4th, 2016, I decided to be New Year's resolution guy. I decided to hop in the gym and say, I'm going to get this done. And so January at 5:00 in the morning, I go to the gym just about every single day in January. I go to the gym just about every single day at 5:00 in the morning in February. I don't think I missed, but maybe, a handful of days. I was there every day, and I was on the treadmill, just trying to make sure I got in shape. So for 2 months, I went through that process. And on March 1st, I said, okay, let me check my weight. I hop on the scale on March 1st, and there was absolutely no change in my weight. I had not done a single thing to change my weight. And so I got to the point where now I was in a little bit of a conundrum, and I said, I have to figure out a way to get this thing under control. So I said, I knew now that Weight Watchers worked. I knew from my previous journey that I was really good at losing weight. So back into Weight Watchers, I said, I can do this. On March 1st, I opened my app and I started tracking. And on March 1st, I tracked every single thing that I ate. I said, I got this. March 2nd, I opened my app. I tracked every single thing I ate. March 3rd, I'm focused. I'm on fire. I'm doing this. March 3rd, I tracked everything I ate. March 4th, I tracked almost everything I ate. March 5th, I tracked a little bit of what I ate. And March 6th, I was completely done tracking. So here I was. The gym wasn't working. My app wasn't working. I knew I needed more support. I knew something had to be different. And on March 8th, 2016, I walked back into the Weight Watchers meeting room, and I'd been in there 5 times before, so I knew what to expect. But I walked in there with a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, knowing the program, knowing that it worked. I didn't need any help. What I just needed to sit in that room quietly and get it done. And the leader was absolutely amazing, and she welcomed me in, and we sat and we had a good talk. And as she started to go over the program, I kept interrupting her with, I got this, I got this, I got this, I got this. And she said, what's going to be different this time, Mike? And I really didn't know the answer to it, but I said, I will commit to doing this for an entire year just to see if a year can make a difference. It was March 8th that I posted my very first photo on Connect. It was March 8th where I reached out to the wingmen in the Connect community, and I just like I'd done with my wingmen before, I said, guys, I need some help. And on March 8th, to my complete surprise, I had no anticipation. I had no idea, but you guys answered the call with a resounding, Mike, we believe in you. Mike, you got this. And you showed me one after one. You showed me stories of inspiration of people who were getting it done. People who were trying to do what I was trying to do that I thought was absolutely impossible. I witnessed one by one people having amazing success. It was at that point where I realized that I can do this. But I didn't believe it before. I didn't believe it until you proved it to be true for me. So that first post in Connect, it garnered about a little over 8,000 comments and likes, and it just completely overwhelmed me with support. And it was at that point I knew the program worked. I knew that I could do that, and together we got me switched my focus to why. And I started focusing very heavily on why am I doing this? How can I get it done? But more importantly, why am I doing it? We all know that this is doable. We all know what to do, right? You can't find 3 people on the planet who don't know how to lose weight. Burn more calories than you consume. It's the simple formula. If you are able to follow that formula, you will lose weight. But the reality is it's way more complex than that. You have to know why you have to know why you're doing it so that you continue to make the choices that support your why. If you know why you're doing it, the how doesn't matter. The how just kind of shows up. Every day, the how can be different. You could do different things daily, but you got to stay focused on why. Now, I tell you, I'm never, ever will forget the stress of stressing out over a fitness test. I'll never forget the thoughts of thinking that if I could just cheat the system, if I could fall down the stairs, if I could get hurt, if something could happen that would allow me to not take the test. I'll never forget that. That's ingrained in who I am. That's my why. And so I ask, as you embark on this journey of yourself, why are you here? Why do you not want to be here? What is your motivation? What is going to wake you up every single day on fire to make you say, I can do this? And I tell you, I encourage you to write down your why. And I'm not just saying that. What I want you to do is I want you to grab a pen. I want you to grab a piece of paper. I want you to physically write down, why are you doing this? Why now? How come you didn't start this a week ago? How come you didn't start a month ago? What specifically drove you today to start this process? For me, it was very simple. The clock was ticking. I wanted to pass this test, but more importantly, I never wanted to struggle with it again. So you've got to write down your why. And as you dig deep into writing it down, it absolutely should bring tears. It should invoke an emotional reaction where you say, this is it. This will drive me to make better decisions from this point forward. I will bounce all of my decisions up with, does this support my why? Does this go against it? And do I care at the moment? And can I make a better choice? I want you to take photos. I want you to take a photo as you start this process. I want you to have something to compare it to because we all know your bathroom mirror loves you. Your bathroom mirror, every single morning you take a peek and you look at it in your bathroom mirror. It confirms that your hair is right. It confirms that your makeup is right. It confirms that you've shaven properly. Your bathroom mirror loves you. Your bathroom mirror will always love you. It's the mirror at the department store that's evil. It's the reflection of a store window that you weren't expecting. That's the one that gives you a true reflection because you weren't looking for it. It's that mirror that's evil. And the reason you need to write down and take your photos is because you need to have an opportunity as you start working your program, you stay locked into your why, you know you're going to have success. You're going to run home to your bathroom mirror to confirm your success. And I told you that bathroom mirror loves you. That bathroom mirror is going to give you the thumbs up. It's going to say, yeah, you look great. You've always looked great. Your hair looks great. Your eyes look great. Your makeup looks great. Your shave is clean. But when you pull up a photo from before, that's when you'll see the true change that you're changing. And at that point, you pull out your why and you read it again and you say, I can do this. I can see the progress. I can see myself making progress. I know what I'm doing. I can do it. Your bathroom mirror will not show you a 10-pound weight loss. So armed with my why, armed with the tool of You on Connect, armed with my photos, I wanted to get it done. So here we are. We're coming up on 19 May. It's time for me to take this fitness test. It was the one test in my career that meant the most to me because during the course from January to May, there was leadership had gotten to the point where they said, we've given you enough opportunity. If you don't pass this test, we're going to figure out a way to kick you out. And so luckily I'd started the process on my own and I was already working. I was already motivated, but that gave me an oomph to say, go get it done. On 19 May, I woke up that morning and my wife had made me a lunch of a turkey sandwich and an orange and she gave me a good kiss and she said, Mike, good luck. Go do this. And so I left here on fire. I left here motivated, but I got to be honest with you, I wasn't sure that I would be able to pass the test. I knew it was going to be close. I knew my weight was down close enough to pass it, but I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to really knock out the run or not. But I went out there that morning and I just absolutely gave it my all. And so they taped me. It came in at 37.5. My run time was 13:29. I did my push-ups, did my steps. I got a score of 84. It was probably at that point, it was the best score I'd ever had on a fitness test. And man, was I happy. And the monkey was off my back. I'd now had 2 passing tests in a row. That's a sure indication that the trend is moving in the right direction. I come back in from the run and I'm celebrating. I'm ecstatic. I've beaten this test again. And I said, you know what? It's time for lunch. So that at that moment, I realized my life is different because my first inclination was not to go out to Buffalo Wild Wings. My first inclination was, man, I have a very yummy turkey sandwich sitting in the fridge. And I walked down to the hall and I grabbed the sandwich and I grabbed the orange and I sat at my desk and I sat there in complete silence, internally celebrating perhaps the biggest change in my life that has ever happened. 19 May was that day. 20 May, I woke up and I just continued on living a healthy, fit life because my life had completely changed at that point. 21 May, 22 May, it goes on and all of a sudden I continued to improve my fitness. I continued to improve my life. And I decided in August, I said, I want to, out of cycle, I want to go ahead and retake this fitness test because I want to see if I can pass it. I want to see if I can pass it with a much better score than the 84. And so I did. And so my waist was down to a 34-inch waist. I ran my 1.5 miles in 12:08. And for the first time in my military career, I got an excellent score on my fitness test. It was at that moment where I now realized that I own this test. For a test that for 20 years had gotten the best of me, for a test that had forced me into having these crazy thoughts, for a test that forced me to almost compromise my personal integrity, I now own it. It's mine. Any day, any time, bring it. I can pass this test no matter what I'm wearing. I joke and say if I could probably pass the test wearing flip-flops. Don't tempt me. I'd be willing to go do it. But I can take this test and pass it at any time that I can. And that's my hope for you. My hope for you is that as you sit here in this room, as whatever your own goals are, is that you get to the point where you crush them. You knock them out of the park. And so what I want to tell you is that I believe you can do this. I believe so much that you can do it that I've now devoted my life to help you understand it. I developed a website specifically for you to see my journey so that you can now take the pieces out of it that work for you. We developed a podcast. I developed a podcast that tells the story that reminds you every single morning, good morning, Mike, you've got this. Good morning, Kim, you've got this. Good morning, Judy, you've got this. Good morning, Pam, you've got this. Good morning, Tammy, you've got this. Every single day, you can check in with a wingman. I developed an email newsletter. I want to provide you a little bit of accountability. I want to provide you the tools and resources to get it done. And I just leave you with that thought that you absolutely can do this. You absolutely can get this done. I believe you can do this. I absolutely believe. I've done it, and I believe you can do it as well. Not only do I believe you can do it, but I've asked all of my wingmen, the folks who helped me, the folks who carried me to goal, I asked them to help me convey that belief to you. And they did. They wrote in cards from all over the world. They wrote in a card and just a hope of inspiration. I want to hand that to you. I want you to understand that you're not alone in this journey. I want you to understand that everything that you're going through, I've been through. Everything that you're going through, you can come out positive on the other side. And so as you read these cards, as you look at the letters, I want you to understand that you have the most support you will ever have in the community. We developed a Facebook page. Join us in the Facebook page, WhysWingmen.com. And together, we can get it done. And I told you, you don't have to be here. And I've told you that if you understand why you're doing this, that you will no longer be in this situation. You'll own whatever fitness goals you set for yourself. Because I believe in you. And that's how we end it. And I tell you, I didn't really mention this on episode 54, but I tell you, as I walk around the room and I hand out the cards that you've given to them, it truly is the highlight of the day, because I can see them. It's really weird for me because as I speak to this group, I can tell I have their undivided attention. It's a little weird for me because I'm not used to speaking to a room where they truly are fixated on every word, but I can see it. I can see the hurt in their eyes. I can see the pain in their eyes. I can see when I say certain things, I can see their body language confirm what I know to be true, and that's they're internally struggling. I can feel it. I know for a fact that's what's going on. And so as I hand out these cards, I can see them get that little glimmer of hope. I can see them through our journey to go, okay, today is different. And so I ask you always is to continue to send the cards. I know I have 2 more opportunities to talk, but I know it's going to continue to grow. OperationFatDag.org is just going to provide opportunities for us to continue to tell the story. So I appreciate you writing in your cards and your letters. And it's just an amazing opportunity when we pull together to get it done. So that's how I ended my day. That was an amazing day. 1 year into the podcast, 1 year into, we're now 2.5 years into the journey, but 1 year of podcast in the books, and we just continue to celebrate. We continue to share all of our amazing stories. It's why I ask you always to send in your letters, because there are people who understand what we need to know. There are people who need to know what we understand to help them get it done. And when we get it done, we celebrate. So what is it that you're celebrating? Let's share it on the air. Go to FatDag.com, click on WhysAdvice Podcast, send in your celebrations, your comments, your questions. I'll work them in as part of the show. I'm telling you, I really, really want you to email in those celebrations and your stories, because as you heard through the testimony that I just delivered, is there is somebody listening who gets it. There's someone listening that says, man, I didn't know. I thought I was all alone. And your story, I can't tell every story on the planet because I've only lived mine. And so we're missing so much of the population if we just only tell my story. As we tell and share your story, we reach further and further into the population, and we completely change lives. I want you to be proud of that. I want you to be proud of what you're doing. That internal pride lasts forever. But that's going to do it for this time. Remember, losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus. Thank you for listening to the WhysAdvice podcast. Did you know for as little as $1 a month, you can take the next step as a wingman and support the show? Visit fatdag.com, click on Become a Patron today.